everybody. Welcome into another edition of Talking Fitchburg on this Thursday, August 27, 2020. I'm Jeremy Crosby. Hope you had a wonderful day. Glad you're here with us now. And it's another busy show here today for Talking Fitchburg. We'll be talking about the weather, get you an update here just in a little bit of time. And then with high heat, wanted to talk again the importance of why we don't leave anybody in a vehicle, especially on hot days like this. Even in not so hot days, never good to leave anybody in the vehicle. And we'll talk with Safe Kids, a piece we had out earlier in the month. We want to share that with you today again, as well as healthy eating with Hy-Vee. We'll check in with Andrea here in just a little bit as well. Yeah, this is a very safety, healthy oriented show. So what could be better? That's all I'm saying. All right, let's get right into the headlines. We start here with the weather, and we didn't have any updated maps as of when we went on the air here today, but thunderstorms are likely to develop by later this afternoon and evening. The chance continues through the night. Some storms may be severe with large hail and damaging winds, with the main threats. Locally, heavy rainfall will be possible as well. And moving on to Friday, storms are likely Friday as a low pressure and associated cold front move through. Some of the storms may be severe with the threat of heavy rainfall again as well. Large hail and damaging winds will be the main threats again, although a tornado cannot be ruled out. And then a chance of thunderstorms to return Monday with lingering small chances for storms into mid to next week. So that was your hazardous weather outlook from the National Weather Service playing out here. Certainly, we want you to always check back with the Weather Service or anywhere where you get your weather information as when severe weather is coming in. We want to make sure you have the latest information, make sure you have the weather radios and your weather plan together as storms moving in today and tonight and through tomorrow, and then tomorrow again. All right, Fitchburg Farmers Market is up today. It's from 3 to 6 p.m. at the Agora Pavilion, 5511 East Sherrill Parkway. They'll be offering fresh produce, sweet corn, baked goods, meats, lamb, goat, beef is available by pre-order only. Honey, eggs, cheese, walnuts, CBD products, salsas, seasonings, rubs, flowers, peppers, plants. My gosh, it goes on. It does go on. Fresh flowers, soaps, lotions, fiber. Andrew's always looking for fiber, organic options, gluten-free, and more. I didn't even hear him laugh. He's like, you. All right. Local vendors featuring, again, just great fresh stuff. So if you want to get out there, they're doing their part with the COVID-19 and Dane County Public Health to make sure to keep you safe out there. And if you haven't taken advantage of their pre-order stuff, you can do that. Just check the website for the latest information. Probably too late to do pre-order today, but you can do it again for the next one coming up, and there'll be another one. That's right. Speaking of the farmers market, vouchers for older adults still out there. The Area Agency on Aging in Dane County offers vouchers to individuals over the age of 60 who have a gross income under $1,968 per month. For a single individual, and $2,658 per month for two-person household resides in Dane County. Vouchers are for $25. That can be towards fruit, vegetables, and herbs herbs at farmers markets and roadside farm stands during June through October of 2020. Vouchers are part of a first-come, first-served basis, and you can call Alice Miller at 608-261-5678 for an application today. And you can always check in with certainly our social workers at the Fitchburg Senior Center as well. So that can be done. All right, last night we had a road closure on McKee Road to put up this nice new bridge across the great McKee Road there. This new bridge is part of the Badger State Trail overpass and was lifted into place last night. And it was done very quickly. We had a busy night last night, so we weren't able to get out there the road closed at 8, and I think our crew showed up at 8:45 or somewhere in there, and the bridge was already up. So they cruised through it last night, getting that lifted into place. There was a detour set up for you to get around it, but that bridge now set up, and it is like Bill said it looks just like the other ones that are laid out there. So we look forward to having that up and operational in late October is what we're being told. So a lot to be worked on still there, but pretty cool that went up last night. All right, talking about community presentation to be held on triage centers and crisis care continuum. The Dane County Criminal Justice Council, or CJC, in collaboration with Miami-Dade County, are excited to announce the community education event on triage centers and the crisis care continuum. This partnership between CJC and the Policy Research and Corp, or PRI, has provided an opportunity to have RG speak at the Dane County community on September 1st. Dr. Zabayafor is the Chief of Quality and Clinical Innovation Connection to Health Solutions and Assistant Professor at the University of Arizona. She's given a presentation to several units of governments and organizations on the intersections of behavioral health and criminal justice systems. So if you want to come out for this event or learn more about this event, it is a virtual event, I should say. That's scheduled for Tuesday, September 1st at 5:00 p.m. It'll be streamed online. Participants can join through the county's website. Andrew's got that up there on the screen, and certainly we will share the link to this story. Finally, sections of the Capital City Trail to be closed for major pavement restoration. Brought the story to you a little while ago, but want to make sure we get it back on the ticket here. Cyclists and pedestrians will be required to use alternate routes of travel during construction. The detour via Cannonball Trail will be signed. This trail or this construction is going to begin on Tuesday, September 8th for asphalt pavement resurfacing. So we wanted to keep you updated on that. All right, that does it for our headlines. Coming up next, we open up the digest. We're going to talk about the safety about keeping pets, family members, kids out of the car when you leave a car. We'll talk all about that next right here at Talking Fitchburg.
Hola, Julia. ¿Estás lista para tocar con nosotros? Yo tocaré mi clarinete.
Y Elmo tocará su tambor.
Tambor ruidoso.
Bueno, ya sabes qué hacer, Julia.
Julia sabe.
Dado el autismo de Julia, los sonidos pueden ser muy fuertes.
Y hace música a su manera.
¡A tocar!
La detección temprana del autismo puede hacer una diferencia de por vida. Conoce más sobre la detección temprana en detecciondeautismo.org.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps.
Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg in the Digest today. And today we're talking with Safe Kids. They are right here in Fitchburg, and they've picked up a new tool to show just how hot it gets in a car sitting out in the sunshine. And it doesn't take an outside air temperature to be that hot to warm the inside of a vehicle. And here now is that story.
From 1998 to 2019, Wisconsin has had 8 deaths of children in vehicles. So the number statistically is not very high, but 100% preventable. So I think that's really an important piece. Also the fact that July and August are by far our hot months, so making sure that we're really doing a great job of just reminding families not to leave their dogs, their pets, or anybody in the vehicle.
We're going to gain access to the vehicle in a manner that's going to keep the occupant as safe as possible. So that may entail breaking a window, but we're going to do so in a manner that is going to keep the occupant as safe as possible, but is going to gain access to that occupant as soon as possible so that we can get them out of that vehicle. We definitely do get calls for children left in cars. We are very, very lucky in that most of those calls, if not all of them, are coming from a parent or guardian at the time that the child is locked in the car. So we've been very lucky that there have not been any heat-related illnesses, injuries, or deaths with children in the city of Fitchburg.
So with heat stroke specifically, obviously your body is overheating. There's a lot of really great, obviously, signs that you would know or families would know. They're flushed, the dry skin, you can vomit, disorientation, confusion. And I think the big thing with kids, especially if they're in a car seat, they can't get themselves out. They can't open the door to remove themselves. So I think it's really important for us to know that it gets really hot in that vehicle and they're sitting in there and they're unable to get out because they're locked in a car seat. So this is a thermometer and it tells us about the outdoor temperature and the inside of a vehicle temperature. So a vehicle sitting outside can heat up about 20 degrees, 19 degrees in 10 minutes. And so this is just a really good visual of how fast a car can heat up. And even if you have your windows like down a little bit, it still doesn't necessarily matter. It's a really great visual to show that it can heat up pretty fast. To be able to purchase this thermometer was through the RTAC. So that's a South Central Regional Trauma Advisory Council. And I think that was really phenomenal that they were able to help us purchase these to really get awareness out to our families, our communities, to talk about these topics.
The fact that they have this tool to actually show the public, you know, you can see demonstrations online about the temperature outside versus the temperature inside of a vehicle, but you can also come up with all kinds of stories about, well, that's in Florida, that's in California. This is in Wisconsin, this is in the city of Fitchburg where you live. It's not an incredibly hot day. It's warm, but it's not the hottest day that we see in the summer. And it's very easy to be very complacent and think that it'll be okay to just step inside and grab a gallon of milk or run back into the house real quickly. And the bottom line is it's never okay.
Create reminders. Sometimes different vehicles have different reminders in the back seat. Some child passenger safety restraints also have reminders that have like little alarms that will go off and let families know that something was left back there, or to put something in the back seat that's valuable to them that they know that if they're going to work, maybe they don't take their child to daycare every time, but put their bag in the back. That way they have to reach back there and they remember, oh, hey, my child is in the back seat still. And then if you see, like Meredith said, if you see somebody in the back seat or in the vehicle and you're not quite sure how long they've been there, take action, call 911 and do everything that you can to make sure that individual is safe. I think especially right now during COVID, where sometimes we have to take our kids to the store and we're like, okay, should we bring them in? Should we not bring them in? And making sure we have our masks. Sometimes it might be an easier option to leave your child in the car, but really one we want families to really think about and make sure that they're aware that the car can get very hot very fast.
So what we ask is if you come upon a vehicle that has a child, a pet, an individual who does not seem to be responding, first and foremost, call 911. Absolutely call 911. Even if you're not familiar with where you are, maybe you're out for a walk in a neighborhood, the 911 will be able to get close enough to you based on your cell phone call. If the occupant is unresponsive, we ask that you try to gain entry into the vehicle as much as possible. We understand that may not be possible, but if it is, check the doors. It's possible that it is unlocked from the outside with the child safety door features. It may just be that the child isn't able to get out of the car seat and operate the door themselves. So
I think it's just, for us, it's just creating that awareness, and I think that visual awareness of making sure that you realize the temperature can get very hot very fast. And sometimes I think of families, for me specifically, I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. If I'm going someplace, I'm like, oh, it's harder for me sometimes to haul them into the store than it is to leave them, but just knowing that it does get very hot very fast, and that you should really just be aware of that and making sure that you're doing everything you can to keep your children safe.
And the fact that we're able to partner with Safe Kids to get that message out consistently between both groups and to all our audiences is huge for the safety of kids, pets, and everyone in the community.
All right, there you have it. We'll check in with Safe Kids here in the near future, as it's a great partner to have right here in Fitchburg. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. Coming up next, we open up our guest segment. We're talking with Andrea, our dietitian from Hy-Vee. She's got us on eating healthy. I better pay attention. That's next right here on Talking Fitchburg.
Are you ready to play band with us? I'm gonna play my clarinet.
And Elmo's gonna play his drum.
Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music.
Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today is my favorite dietitian. Well, I only know one, so it's kind of hard not to be. It's Andrea Miller. She's from Hy-Vee, a registered and certified dietitian. And Andrea, welcome back to the show. We're talking about a hot button topic today. Very excited. I took to heart the blueberry segment the last time. Now, I haven't been able to put them into the burger yet, but I did buy turkey burger for the first time in 10 years. So, and I've been found out that my daughter really, really loves blueberries. And and the things we're talking about today are some of the changes that I've been trying to make in light of this segment, plus for my own personal health. But today we're going to talk about making those small changes and the bigger impact it will have on your body. So the big part one is getting started. How do we get started?
Right. A lot of us are finding in this situation where things have we're kind of starting to create a new normal, and how do we get started or get back on track if we're trying to get healthier or add more, nutrition into our lives, whatever the goals might be. So yeah, that's the biggest one, is remembering that one change can make a big difference. So that power of one change, rather than feeling like you have to change everything all at once, kind of starting with one thing, getting that down, and then moving on to the next change.
Could I would throw out a couple of, let's do a couple of fast track ones here.
Yeah.
If you're a big carb bread eater, you just love that bread, what would you recommend there for a starting point?
Yeah, so a good starting point is to think in the back of our head. If you kind of have in the back of your mind thinking balance, variety, and moderation, that's what you're kind of going for overall. And then look at that and say, okay, bread fits into one of the food groups. How can I incorporate other food groups as well with the bread to get a little bit more balance and a little bit more variety, and kind of move that into a moderation piece, versus automatically thinking bread is bad, I have to eliminate it. Try to switch that to how can I incorporate additional food groups. So trying to achieve 3 to 5 different food groups at a meal. So then that really helps us from the excess or the under intake. So it helps us keep us in that middle, that happy middle.
Would you say too, if on a smaller chain, and I just laugh because I vision myself standing in the bread aisle and thinking to myself, all right, if I just switch from white to wheat, that's got to be an easy step one, right?
Well, it's an easy step one, but you're looking at 2 different things. So one, you're looking at quantity versus nutrition. So sometimes we can achieve both, which is ideal, but that's where it kind of goes to finding the right fix. And that's kind of my second point, is what are you trying to achieve? Like figure out what you're trying to achieve. If you feel like you're taking in excess of something, then you want to try to work on how do I moderate? Like what steps can I take? What action steps can I take to moderate? If you're looking at, maybe I'm not getting enough nutrition, so the white bread versus the whole grain bread scenario, how can I get more nutrition out of my grains? And that's kind of a different action step. So that's a really good point, is to look at that and say, what am I trying to achieve? What's the issue or what's the problem? What am I trying to achieve? And then have your action steps speak to that.
If you're somebody that likes to eat your second helping, your third helping, and you were talking about moderation and that fix, how do you? What would be some areas to slow that down? So you talked about 3 to 5, different food group if you could hit those. But what could you do to slow down? Or if you're eating so much, is there something you could replace out that makes you not want to eat more? As you look at trying to make that fix.
Right. Yeah, that's a great question. That's a very common place that people get stuck, is, okay, I eat too much volume. They've come to that conclusion, I eat too much volume or a certain food. So what I try to do is narrow it down. Is it a time of day? Is it too much at one time during the day? Is it a certain meal? Is it a certain period of time where you feel snacky and you kind of feel like you're consuming way too much at one time? So try to narrow down a time of day first or a meal first. And then you want to look at your overall structure. So kind of that 3 to 5 number comes back when you think of how often we eat. So if we're eating every 3 to 5 hours, that's the sweet spot for our metabolism. So what that also is going to achieve is it's going to create a hunger before you eat, which we want to be hungry before we eat, but not excessive. And then you get satisfied by a smaller amount of food. So a lot of times when people are overeating at a certain meal or a certain time of day, it's because they haven't eaten enough prior to. So trying to keep a structure of eating about every 3 to 5 hours tends to lessen the amount that we need to be satisfied when we do start eating.
Interesting. Yeah, that I did not know that. There's a fresh tip on for me, anyways. Getting into the into the sweet spot. Well, taking this forward, what would be your next step then?
Yeah. So my third step to get started is really keep it simple. So remind yourself that food is food. We try to make it do other things. Alleviate stress. We try to give it more power than it has. So food is food, food is nutrition. Keep it simple. Try not to match what you see other people doing, thinking that if it worked for them, it's going to work for you. Think about what you need, kind of where your sticky spots are. Remember the 5 food groups. That's where all the nutrition is. So try to think about and focus on what you could be eating or what to eat rather than identifying everything that you shouldn't be eating or that you can't eat, and really focus on bringing it back to the basics of the food groups, eating whole foods as much as possible, trying to cook more, eat more foods at home, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that is a tough willpower piece there too. That's really tough. But if you strip it all away and think of just yourself and, you can set your own timeline. It doesn't, you shed a few pounds here or there, you can set that. And if people need help, picking out these foods or what could they do, work with you? How can they work with you to kind of figure out new foods to replace out with old foods or even a starting spot?
Sure. So I offer, and we're offering these service virtually now too, which we can reach more people that way and maybe a little bit more conveniently. So I have some shopping tours that I can help people out related to general wellness. If somebody does have diabetes and they're looking for different options in the store, and even heart health. And so what I can do is I break it down by department in the store, and I can help you kind of get your plan of attack before you go grocery shopping and kind of narrow it down for things to look for, because it can be so overwhelming when we actually get into the store, whether you're shopping in person or online. And so I can help kind of break that down a little bit and meet you where you're at. That's the biggest thing. So when somebody's looking at getting started, where are you at currently? Because any change you make from what you're doing now is going to show an impact. So that's what we have to remember is where are we at now, and then where would you like to go? And then I can meet that person in the middle there and help with getting started with some different grocery shopping techniques or thinking about food or grocery shopping a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think that's super important to know that, whether working with you or any dietitian, but really diving in on that plan of attack before you head on. It's something you've talked about on the show of having that plan. Finally want to get this in here because I'm taking a deep dive here on the show and working on a metabolic testing. What does this test do?
Right. So this is one example of kind of being very personalized and finding the right fix. So if your sticky spot that you're kind of struggling with is, I'm not sure how much I actually need, like how much food or how many calories or volume do I actually need, either to sustain where you're at or to lose weight even and do it safely and effectively. And so one option is doing a metabolic test, which is basically based on your breathing pattern. And so the machine that I have is through Core Technologies, Korr, and it's through obtaining your volume of oxygen. And what it does is it identifies your energy needs in calories at your current state. So it's all, when you're ready to make a change, it's always good to look at what's your current situation, not somebody that you read on a blog or your next door neighbor, but what is your current situation? What are your needs currently? And then we can identify what you would need to do if you were to achieve some weight loss. Because one of the important things is you don't want to actually go too far from what you're currently doing. Because then our bodies get into protective mode. So if we cut back too much on calories or increase too much in exercise all at once, our bodies get a little protective, and you might not see any results at that point. So it's important to see where you're at and then go from there in smaller steps. And the breathing test or the metabolic test that you're going to do is going to indicate current status, what your caloric needs are. And then we would modify that for your weight loss goals.
Well, I'm excited. I'm nervous, and all of the above. So we'll.
There's no need to be nervous. It's pretty painless.
Well, that's a start.
Yeah.
I see on here I have to go 4 hours without caffeine before I show up.
Yeah, that's usually the hardest part. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as long as you're providing me coffee afterwards, I'll buy into doing this. Yeah, great information here, Andrea. If people want to learn more or just get started, how can they get in contact with you, or any resources out there to start this basic plan?
Sure. Yeah. So anyone can email me at andreamiller@hiv.com. I think you're going to provide that email. And I'm available in the Madison area store, so East Side, West Side, and in Fitchburg.
Yeah, that's why you're our favorite, because you're in we don't care about the other story. You come to Fitchburg, we're good with that. Andrew, thank you so much for the tips. I think it's a great information to get started. I'm attempting to go through this, and I'm not going to blame you one way or the other if it doesn't work. No. Kidding. No, I think it's great, and we'll show you that test here coming up on a future segment. Andrew, thank you so much. Have a great day and stay safe out there.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Like I said, we'll be doing that test, and she'll show you how it works and then how to apply the things that we learned from that test in your dieting. All right. That does it for this segment. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be blood. Next Thursday?
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So. I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
You're the engine that makes all things go, and you're always in disguise, my hero. I see your light in the dark, smile in my face when we all know it's hard. You're doing a good job, You're doing a good job, don't get too down. The world needs you now, know that you matter.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Wrapping up the show. I took all the time, so all I can say is have a great night. Have that weather radio ready to go, Andrew, and make sure you stay connected with us online. Have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow.